The A-League season is just around the corner, and that means it's time to get your fantasy A-League team sorted out. And so we're going to be doing that together in this video. We're going to be creating a team, putting some players on, talking through the scoring system, and putting our team into a league, and so that you know how to do all these things as well. So let's jump into it and go to the official A-League site. Now the hardest thing, of course, is creating a team name. You can see I've gone for Joe Lollipop FC. I always find coming up with a good pun for this with A-League players quite difficult, but yes, here's my team. As you can see, blank at the moment. We're going to go through and pick some players. Now, first thing to note is you've got $4 million of your salary. It's not quite the same as the Fantasy Premier League if you've played that before. It's not as simple as like a 4.5 for players. You can see some of the prices here, 350 and a half. So you're working with 4 million, and you can figure that out. I think it is similar to the Premier League Fantasy in that you can only choose 3 players from each team, so be mindful of that. But yeah, let's go through, and the way I like to do it is pick the players I think are going to be the keys. Start off with my expensive players who I think are going to get me points, and then kind of mold the rest of the team around those. And so I'm going to go straight up for Joe Lolly, because I think he is going to have a fantastic season. And he's listed as a forward for Fantasy League, which is interesting. 450,900. It's one of the more expensive kind of players. I think Craig Goodwin was like 600,000 last season. So Joe Lolly, going to get him in there because I think he's going to get a lot of assists and score some goals for Sydney FC this season. They look like they're pretty good. Another player, he's listed as a forward as well, I thought was going to be quite good, is Marco Tullio, because he seemed to get a heap of assists for Mariners in their season last year, in their title win. So I'm going to chuck him straight up back. So there we go. We've almost used a million of our 4 million on our 2 strikers. So you have to kind of be a little bit conservative with some of your other picks. With the ways points are scored, obviously blocks and saves and things like that, it's a little bit different to Fantasy Premier League again. I will show the scoring system and talk you through that in a second, but let's go through now. There's goals scored, goals assisted, clean sheets, goalkeeper save, penalty saves, key passes, completed crosses. There's dribbles, tackles, clearances, block shots, minutes on the pitch, and interceptions. But you can also lose points for intercepted passes, yellow cards, red cards, conceding goals, conceding penalties, being dispossessed. So you want to keep that in mind with players who you want your midfielders to be good passers. Your defenders as well, like those passes, if they can rack up passes, it gets them lots of points. So teams that play out from the back are quite important. And so actually I'm going to go with some Melbourne City defenders and players I think are going to get quite a few passes. Curtis Good, guaranteed to play lots of minutes for this City side, and pretty good on the ball, so he'll get you tackles, he'll get you good passes. So I think that's a good choice. Someone else who's just a gun defender, and I think he's going to win lots of tackles and be quite important and play a lot of minutes for their team, is Tom Aldred. So I'm going to put him in the back line as well. Keeping an eye on this remaining salary, because you've got to select 15 players, which is quite a few players to work around. Let's have a look at goalkeepers, because again we want a goalkeeper who's probably going to face quite a lot, and I think for the prices, Jamie Young's probably not going to face that many shots. Redmayne could do. I think when you look at the prices, going a cheaper goalkeeper who's going to face a lot of shots, like Macklin Freak for Brisbane Roar, I think could be good. Cameron Cook for Perth. Although I think Ollie Sale will actually be the first choice goalkeeper. I think Joe Gauchi is a good, cheap goalkeeper. Cheaper end, but he's going to play lots of football. Guaranteed to play pretty much all season if he stays injury free. Backup goalkeeper is one you can now use your cheap points and go someone real cheap. So these $150,700 goalkeepers, it doesn't really matter if you think one's going to potentially get some points, but you see the projected points for round one for a lot of these guys is like 3%. So it's unlikely that many of them are going to play, but make sure you don't choose someone who's actually a bit more expensive when you can save the money. For myself, I'm probably going to go with let's go Newhausen, because I think Jamie Young, he's not going to play, so we'll just chuck him in there. He's cheap. That's important. The projected points actually do come in, so they project how many points each player is going to score for each round, and they use that. If a player is consistently scoring more than their projected total, then their value is going to go up. So having them is good at that point, and you can sell them and make some extra money. If they're scoring under their projected total consistently, though, their value is going to go down. So you have to kind of watch those players. You only get 35 transfers throughout the season. You get 2 free transfers a week. But if you used 2 transfers every week, you'd be out of transfers by, I think, like round 18, which is not good when there's 26 rounds. So you need to kind of manage those trades that you make as well. So you don't have just unlimited, you don't get freebies. You got 35 for the whole season. So beware of that. We've still got 2 million, but we've got only 6 of our 15 players selected. So I think choosing some midfielders would be wise, just to see who we can get. And I think for me, I'm going to go with another Sydney FC player, and Anthony Caceres, because he's looked really good in pre-season and been getting some assists and some goals. Let's have a look at some other players who might play. See, Jorik Hendricks for Western Sydney Wanderers is not too expensive at $267,000, and I think he's going to play quite a pivotal role. He looks like a really good player coming straight out of PSV in the Eredivisie. So, well, he has played for PSV. Quite a good pickup for not a lot of money. I think Ryan Tunnicliffe looks like a good option for Adelaide, but I think he might actually give the ball away and commit quite a few fouls, knowing him. Angus Thurgate for Western United is an interesting one. Mustafa Amini's going to play lots. He's an okay footballer, but I don't know if he's fantastic, really. Looking at last season's points as well is, just a good indication of how much they're expected to get. And so I think someone like a Steven Ugarkovic, who might get a yellow card here or there, he's quite expensive though, isn't he? And we don't have a whole heap of money left, so I think I might go someone like a Josh Nisbet. A little bit cheaper, but a consistent player. He gets lots of intercepts, which get you points, so he could be a good one. Then let's have a look. We probably need to get another top level defender. Look at these guys, 300,000. Riston does score a lot of points for Western because he likes to get forward, but Marcelo makes a lot of tackles, but again, very, very expensive. Aziz Beich could be a good option, but he is still quite expensive as well. I'm just wary of how much I actually have left, and so I'm going to drop down just a little bit. See, someone like Brian Kautak, who's going to win a lot of tackles, but he's a little bit cheaper. And Mariners didn't have the worst defence. Actually, someone like a Western United, they're gonna, I think, be quite a good team in terms of, I think they're going to be back to their kind of 1-0 results throughout the season. I don't think Donachie is the kind of guy, but Tomoki Mai could be a good option. You see, it's hard to choose a good defence. I don't think Traddy's going to play much. Let's go with Tomoki Mai because he plays quite a bit of football, and we've got under 1 million left, and we've got 5 more selections to make. So, of course, you've got to play 11 players on the pitch, and so let's go a cheap young midfielder who might still make quite a bit of appearances. You can get on here and there. Adelaide definitely like to use their bench, and Bombois does like to come on off the bench quite a bit. Timmins and Steins could be good options. Jacob Woodreich. Riku Danzaki is actually quite cheap and might make quite of an impact. I'm going to go with Riku Danzaki in the midfield. For a 4th defender, again, I want someone who's on the cheaper end but is actually going to play some football. So someone like Lee Broxham will give away way too many yellow cards. Daryl Lockman, again for Perth, they look a bit more solid this season, so he's pretty cheap. Of course, didn't get heaps of points last season, but it's not a bad return. Okay, we've got 600,000 left for our 3 substitute appearances. So I'm going to start with a defender who's pretty cheap and spend a bit more money on a striker who might get onto the pitch. So I'm going to... Jordan Elsey is cheap as... I don't think he's particularly fit. Don't know if any of these guys are going to get on. Alexander Shuzna. It's a little bit more expensive than the cheapest, but I think he should play. Yep, that'll do. Let's go for a midfielder who's a little bit better, because what have we got? 493. Let's choose another cheap midfielder who potentially will actually get on the field. Corey Holman. I've only got 2 Sydney FC players, and I think he's actually going to play a little bit of a part this season. He's been playing in the FFA, the Australia Cup. 338 left, so we can actually get quite a good striker. Can't quite afford a Quoll from Anson. Lachlan Rose, Bruno Fornaroli are within the price. You kind of want to maximise how much of the money you use. You know what? Lucky Rose for MacArthur. Adam Taggart. Yeah, it's tricky. Arzani, is he going to actually be any good? I think I might go with Lucky Rose. And that gives us 20,000 more, so we can go with Shushna and go for 175,000. Gives us a bit better. So it's a little bit of playing around with that. 175, so Jacob Trapp, I don't know how much he's going to play. Lee Broxham as a bench option, or Nuno Reish. Nuno Reish could be a pretty good bench option. And I think that's a pretty... What does that leave us with in strikers? We just got rid of Rose for a second. Leaves us 327. No, we still can't afford someone, so I think leaving 9,000 is not too bad. I'd be impressed to see somebody who uses all the money perfectly. They spend a lot of time. But that looks like a good team to me. 15 players selected, and then you can of course change the lineup. I think this is actually how I'm going to start it. I might not start Danzaki. I've got to change the formation. A 4-3-3 is what I want to go with, and that'll put Rose in. Excellent. So that's that done. Now do you get to, you can obviously choose your colours, your shield colour. I'm going to go for a sky blue, and choose your shield. There's nothing really particularly Sydney FC looking on here, so I think I might just go for a Captain America inspired and get the orange in, and a little bit of navy blue as well. Beautiful. That's our team. Now, of course, joining a league is pretty important. You get entered into a public league, which is great. Now, here's where you would create or join a group. And so we're going to create a group right now for the A-League Couch Critics. Fans of the Couch Critics. We're going to create that group, and here you go. If you want to join the Couch Critics group, I'm going to put the link into the video description, and I think there's 20 places that can be joined, so it's first in, best served. Here's the information of the league, but the link is down in the description. And let me know if you're excited about Fantasy League. Join our league, and if you like this video, then make sure to stick around and watch our kind of off-season wrap-up where we talked for ages, about an hour, a good long chat about how every team has done in the off-season, a little bit about the Women's World Cup as well, so make sure to click on that video as well. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.